guys, so here we are. Go ahead and grab whatever it is that you need to grab, because this is it, okay? This is going to be the conclusion, the end, all that. Everything about the whole court thing, we're going to wrap it up in a bow and call it a day. So let's get into it, because this is not a good time, okay? So boom. As you guys know, back when I did the court vlog or whatever, I could not find this lady, and we're gonna call her by her name because we're gonna call her out for the scammer that she is. Lyda from My Sweet at Beauty Square. Yeah, we're gonna call her out for what she is. She is a scammer, and we're gonna talk about what this scammer decided to do and how the scammer won, because you know what, whatever. I'll take my public L. Everybody who said this wasn't worth my time, worth my energy, la la la, whatever you want to say, you won, cool. Hey, there's your cookie. So basically, from that, she went MIA. Monica, Lyda, she went MIA. We could not find her. So from there, I had to file another paperwork to get her served. Well, to attempt to get her served once again. So that's what I did. I went back to the courthouse. I went to go get her paperwork and whatever, turned it in so that they could serve her, and that whole issue with the court of clerks and all that. So after I did that, I was being a little optimistic, hoping that the sheriff would be able to serve her. But I also wanted to do like a plan B, like figure out like her address on my own, just in case a return of service happened, I could possibly get another address. So I did what I had to do. I'm not gonna say what I had to do, but I did what I had to do to get her address. And I was down to 2 addresses. I wasn't 100% sure, but we're gonna get into that. I wasn't 100% sure about the 2 addresses that I had, but I was like, you know what, whatever. If they give me a return of service, I'm gonna have to try one of them, right? So I did my own little thing to try to figure out which one was the address, and there was one address that I came to that I was just like, okay, this is probably hers. Like I was like 80% sure that it was hers. So as I suspected, I got a return of service. So I got a phone call because my phone had broken not that long ago. So the day that the sheriff called me, I missed the call, but I got the voicemail of the sheriff, basically saying that Lyda was avoiding service, that she knows that she's trying to get service because this specific sheriff has been to My Sweet. That's what it's called. It's My Sweet at Beauty Square. She went over there and she has spoken to multiple people, and that Lyda knows that she's supposed to get service and she's avoiding it. So the sheriff was basically telling me that she knows that she's left voicemail, she's left messages, she's told the people at the space that they're looking to service her, and she's just flat out avoiding service. So I asked the sheriff if there was anything that I could possibly do to kind of like what I could do or whatever. And everybody was telling me to hire a private investigator. Unfortunately, the cost of a private investigator for what this was, I wasn't really I was all into this, but I wasn't that all into it. You know, I was my own private investigator. But anyway, I didn't do a good job, obviously. So basically, I was trying to figure out if there was a way that I could find her address or anything so I could see if I could service her again. So this is basically where all this kind of just goes to shit, to be honest. Yeah, pretty much. So as much as I am annoyed at Lyda, and as much as I think she's a scammer, or I know that she's a scammer, and everybody at that establishment, I have to say I am just as upset with the Miami-Dade court system, Because like I said in a previous vlog, the court system is not for the people. They say it's for the people. That's what its whole intention is, for the people. It's not for the people. And I feel like I could have gotten a lot further within this had the court system not even been better, just like if people wanted to do their job. So let's get into it. So once I got off the phone with the sheriff, and she basically told me that like this girl is avoiding service, like nobody knows where she's at, whatever. I was just like, okay, now I have to like give an address. Like I'm tired of giving them the actual salon suite. Like I need to figure out her actual address. Like I need to make sure that it's to her. So basically I go to the court of service, or the court of clerks again, and I file another thing to get this woman served. Like that's what I did, okay? I put down the address, I prayed on it. I was like, hopefully this goes to the right person, because that's another thing. I was just annoyed because I'm like, what if it doesn't go to the right house? Like what if it's just some rando that opens the door, you know what I mean? So I was just like, all right, I'm gonna turn this in, see what I can do about it, see if it shakes, like do something. So that's what I did. I filed another service thing. If you guys remember in my initial video, the judge told me I have 120 days from my initial filing to be able to service this lady for us to, you know, see our day in court. So I filed back in May, and now it is August, okay? So I was running up on a very short amount of time to be able to service this woman. I mean, she's smart. She's a good scammer. Like, she did what she had to do to avoid this. So I was running through a very small window of time to be able to service her before the 120 days ran up, as well as my court date, okay? So when I refiled to get this woman served again, I get a call from the sheriff that I talked to before. So she basically calls me again, and she was like telling me that this is the third time that she's seen this paperwork, and that I'm essentially wasting her. Well, she did say I'm wasting her time. She basically went on this whole thing and told me that because of, you know, like she's already gotten this, she only goes to a certain location only a certain amount of times. After that, they deem it a return of service, and it is what it is, like, you know, whatever. And so I basically told her, I was like, yeah, this time I'm actually going to like her location. Like I want to serve her at her location. And the sheriff basically, like, she flat out said, she was like, I hear you, but at this point it's just a waste of my time and a waste of court resources. As if I didn't pay a fee. Like, what do you mean it's a waste of resources? First of all, how is it a waste of your time when it's literally your job? And how is it a waste of resources when I literally have to pay for y'all to serve this lady? Like, it's not free. I didn't ask you to do me a favor. Like, what are you talking about? So basically, she told me that, and I was just like, So then, once again, I got another return of service in the mail. And I'm just like, oh my God, like this girl is really ducking and dodging. Like, I'm so sick of it. So I had to go again back to the court of clerks to figure out like what I can do. So basically I would have to go in and resubmit the paperwork. I have to basically refile again. So I have to do this whole thing over again, because when you ask for an extension to serve somebody, it has to be approved. But I was running up on the time of the 120 days. So I was just wanting to make sure that I was able to either refile within the 120 days, or I would have to like get an extension. So in that whole thing, I'm trying to ask the court of clerks, like the guy that works there, I'm trying to figure out like, what can I do? What are my options? So basically he told me that I'm not going to have time to refile to send her another service thing. So I'm going to have to submit the paperwork to extend service date or whatever. So I was just like, okay. So he basically tells me how I can do it. Of course, this stuff does not work. Like, I went through the whole website, I went through everything, and I was trying to submit the correct paperwork so that way I can do what I got to do to extend the service date, if that makes sense. I hope this is all making sense, so stay with me. So when I go ahead, what I thought was a submission of that extension of that paperwork, I go and I called the court and I was like, hey, I wanted to submit this or whatever. And the person on the phone told me that I was going to have to resubmit everything, that the deadline is done, that I didn't submit it properly, I guess. And which I don't even understand. Like, I did everything that man at the courthouse told me to do. I wrote it down, y'all. Like, I did everything and when I called, they basically told me that I didn't do it right or it wasn't filed properly. So my 120 days was up and I have to completely refile the paperwork. And none of this stuff was making sense to me because I was just like, wait, I have 120 days. Like, what do you mean? This deadline doesn't make sense. And then I'm just like confused. And it just got to the point where like I was getting the runaround, but I don't even want to say it was the runaround. I was getting like no direction. I was getting nothing. I was getting misinformation. People were telling me one thing and saying another thing, and then I would do what I was told to do, and then now it's telling me that like, no, that's not correct. So to be honest, to make a very long story short, I was not able to, see my day in court. And that's the problem that I have, honestly, with all of this, because I know I would have had her in court. I had everything that I needed. I had all the stuff. Like, I had my whole case and everything. And I was even asking, like, the lawyer that I told y'all about, I was even asking her, like, what I could do. And she's basically telling me, like, what I did was correct. It's up to the clerks to file this stuff. And that's the part that just like really irritates me, because I'm like, it's not that I don't have a case. It's not that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. It's literally, I'm giving you all the stuff that I need to do and you're just not doing it for whatever reason. And I know that this is not like the most serious matter in the world, and it is not, whatever. But honestly, at the end of the day, like, now I understand why I don't mess with the court system anyway, because of my whole lawsuit with Armando and all that happened. I already don't mess with the court system. I don't trust the court system. But this kind of validates those same exact feelings, because like, even on like a business aspect of it, I'm like, you guys literally, like, I got the sheriff telling me I'm wasting her time, and I have these clerks that aren't like they're telling me to do one thing, I do it, and now it's just a bust. So basically the whole thing blew up in my face. I mean, I ain't no punk. I'll take the L. It is what it is. It doesn't take away from the fact that Lyda at my suite at Beauty Square here in Miami, because she oversees, she told me, like, I don't know, because she's a liar. She told me that she oversees other locations. She's a leasing manager and she oversees other locations too. She could be lying because she lies about everything else. But regardless, that establishment has some psycho scammer in charge of their leasing and their management. So yeah, they don't get away either. So I'm just like very much over it. So she got what she wanted. She avoided service long enough that I couldn't serve her, and that's basically like the L that I took. I just wanted to give y'all the update. And as much as like, I still feel very strongly, and I'm just feeling that kind of way, just for the simple fact that like, you didn't win, I just lost. You know what I mean? I was very hesitant to see if I wanted to make this video, just for the fact that like, the haters. But at the end of the day, it's a lesson learned. I don't discourage anyone from trying to, fight for justice. Do what you gotta do. But at the same time, like, reality is reality, and as much as I hate to admit it and as much as I hate to say it, the court doesn't care. Unless you are a criminal, unless you did something criminal, they don't care. They don't care about your businesses. They don't care. Like, it has nothing, unless you are going to court to get arrested or something, they are not worried about you. They are, even if you are, to be honest, because I heard so many stories about people just being stuck in jail because their court dates and stuff. It's just another thing of like government funded and government established buildings. They just, sorry, my dog is just shaking the table. It's just one of those things that, you know, they don't really care. And as much as this was like a big deal to me, it's just not a big deal in the eyes of the court system. So yeah, I just thought I would go ahead, wrap it up. Like I said, I left my review. I still reported them to the Better Business Bureau. I did what I could do in that sense. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. An L is an L, and it sucks. So, but I thought I'd give you guys an update on that. So yeah, I hope this doesn't discourage anybody. I hope this doesn't, make anybody feel like if somebody's wronged you, take it into your own hands. Don't go through the legal system. It is not worth it. And I really wanted to see it through. And I'm telling you, had it been my way, had the clerks decided to do something, because I didn't care if I had to try to serve her 1,000 times. I was going to continue to try to serve her. We will go one address at a time. But, I was apparently wasting that sheriff's time and resources. So, it is what it is. I put my business out there, so I can take it. So, whatever. Anyway, Lyda is a scammer. She's a bad person, and I hate her. So, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this video more than I did making it. But yeah, I will hopefully come up with some more positive content to give y'all. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.